Hey, it's Lowry Smith of the Commander Smiths here with Captain America First Avenger. It's red and a white and a blue for a 4/4 human soldier hero. This has throw, pay 3, unattach an equipment from Captain America. He deals damage equal to the equipment's mana value divided as you choose among 1, 2, or 3 targets. Also has catch at the beginning of combat on your turn. Attach up to one target equipment you control to Captain America. So, yeah, looking to build obviously kind of an equipment deck here. We know that we have some damage that he can do up to 3 permanents, 2 or 3. Let's see, mana value divided as you choose among 1, 2, or 3. Yeah, so it can go to anything, 3 targets. Okay. And then, you know that you can equip equipment for free, at least one. And so we'll kind of see how that goes. But Commander Smiths is a podcast that records almost every Monday night, but definitely once a week. We've only missed about 3 in the last 7.5 years, coming up on 8 years here in February. Wow. Oh, maybe it's just 7 years in February. I think that's 7 years in February. It doesn't matter. Oh, good for us. Yeah. Hey, Adam, how's it going? Um, so yeah, every Monday night you can find us here on YouTube. We also put it out on audio anywhere you can find us on Wednesdays. And then we also do a bunch of other stuff like deck building. We kind of do some gameplay. We do talk some finance. We talk secret layers. We talk new sets. We're doing a tournament right now on the best one drops, and we definitely missed a couple, but that's okay. 7 years in February. Thank you for the confirmation, Adam. So if you're interested in some of those things, you can check us out. Subscribe would be a lot of help. Remember to hit a thumbs up today. That would be greatly appreciated. And also, if you're not watching live, watch at like 1.5 speed because I'm not a fast talker. There's a lot of thinking, a lot of card flipping, and that'll help you get through it a bit quicker. Also, any comments welcomed. I will try and respond to them. Whatever you're thinking, whatever you're doing. Yeah, we're there. So what I do normally, I'm at like 95-ish cards. I want to say I want to get it down into um at least the mid 70s. So you'll kind of watch about 20 cuts here. It generally will be about an hour, hour and a half. We'll go through all the cards that I'm doing, talk about why they're there, why they've been chosen, and then I'll cut as I go. I kind of do right now. They're set up in what they're doing in the deck right now. So the first batch is going to be mana, and then so on and so forth from there. And then I break them into um, the curve, and then I also do it into card type, and just so I can see what's what and what's going on. So we'll go with that. Let's keep Captain America up in the corner there. But anybody and everybody who's watching, greatly appreciated. Thank you very much. All right. So we'll go with some of the manas. Karn Legacy Reforged, 5 mana. Its power and toughness is equal to the greatest mana value among artifacts you control, which would at least be 5 with Karn. And at the beginning of your upkeep, add X colorless for the highest mana, and you can only or for an artifact, and you can only use that mana for an artifact spell, which at least it's going to be 5. So, it's a cool one. Just kind of added it in yesterday, and we'll see if I still have to ruminate about it a bit, but I do like it. Sword of Hearth and Home. It's an equipment, +2/+2, protection from green and white. When it deals damage, you blank a creature, go get a basic land from your deck and put it into play tapped. So it's ramp in your Captain America deck, along with I'm sure there's blinky effects in here. So it works. The swords are awesome. I don't get to play them enough. Smothering Tithe, you got something going on with artifacts, synergies. Also, it's just a mana hungry deck, I think. Just because you're casting stuff and equipping them. And there is that free equip, but you know, normally I don't. Oh, and also I have some wheels in here at this point, and wheeling feels really good with Smothering Tithe. you know what I mean. Sahili the Gifted. This is in here for the mana reduction part of the +1 here. Um, the next spell you cast, it's reduced by 1 for every artifact you control, so that can get you a huge card out. The thing that I'm thinking is I'm probably not gonna have like, it's great in any clue or treasure or food deck, you know, when you're making a lot of those tokens. It might still be good in here. I might cut it for now until I can see how many artifacts actually come out, or if it's just like 1 to 2 equipment per turn, then it's probably not worth it. So we'll cut that. Urza, Lord Protector, another one I added yesterday, but artifacts cost 1 less, so it's a mana reduction, and then you can also pay 7 with Urza or the Might Stone and the Weak Stone, and you can convert it into a Planeswalker. He's pretty cool, but I'll read that whenever I get to the Might Stone, Weak Stone. So, but cost reduction. Metalworker. This one's reserved list. This one's expensive. We do play with proxies. Adam makes some bomb proxies. That was a 90s term. Some awesome proxies every month. So you can go check those out too. We give them away to patrons. You can become a patron and join our Discord. I'm sure there's going to be a link after. I don't know. I don't know. You can find it. Just go to Patreon, type in Commander Smiths. You can find us. But Metalworker creates a lot of mana for artifacts from artifacts in your hand. So that's a 1. Uh, Grand Architect, you can tap blue creatures to add 2 mana to your mana pool for each or for artifact spells, essentially. Blue, that's what matters. That's pretty cool part. Inspiring Statuary, you can tap artifacts. No, how about this? Non-artifact spells gain inspire, and then all your equipment, you're able to use it as mana for a lot of the game. I like that because they don't tap for most things anyway. Space Marine ETBs. If you're behind on land, you get to go get a planes put into play. I also like it because of the first strike. In this regard, I do have that touch that can be pretty mean with Captain America. We'll talk about that later, but it works with the first strike. Starnheim Courser. Artifact spells cost 1 less. Also enchantment. Also has flying, so it's a little bit of evasion. The mana reducers in this deck, there's plenty to choose from. I am unsure of what to cut at this point, but I'm sure some will have to go. The Reaver Cleaver, +1/+1 trample, and then whenever a creature deals combat damage, you get that many treasures. It's an equipment. It can do some work. I'm excited because I always have a little bit of a problem with that whole equip cost, and if I can just get around that with Captain America, I am happy. Knight of the White Orchid, again, goes and gets planes if you're behind, but also first strike makes it really good with Death Touch if we have to go that way. Enthusiastic Mechanaut. I believe I missed a Stump the Smith Savant on this one, but artifact spells you cost 1 less to cast. Just a little bit of evasion with that flying, kind of nice. This is supposed to be the blue-white talisman. I apparently ran out. Doesn't happen often, but Signet will be the placement for it at this point. We have Planar Atlas, ETBs. Look at the top 4. You get to put a land from those 4 into your hand, the rest on the bottom. And then ETBs tapped also gets you a colorless. So I really like this in non-green decks because it gets you a land in your hand and it kind of ramps you a little bit later. So it's worth the comes into ETB tapped. Talisman, red blue talisman. I like the talismans. Arcane Signet, the Thanos Gauntlet. There we go. We got the red white talisman for sure. Chief Engineer, giving your artifacts convoke, so that allows you to tap your creatures as mana for your artifacts as well. So a little bit of back and forth. This is probably a balanced deck when it comes to artifacts versus not artifacts. So probably Joyra, Ageless Innovator. It's a 2/3 tap. Put 2 Ingenuity counters on Joyra. Then you may put an artifact card with mana value X or less from your hand into play, where X is the number of Ingenuity counters on Joyra. So it's kind of just like mana. It's good. This is gonna be a good one, I think. Um, I think. We'll see, but should be cool. Ornithopter of Paradise, just tapping for mana. Soul Ring, yeah. Mox Opal, you're gonna have enough artifacts for that. Mox Amber, you got your legend. It's gonna get you your colors. That's the mana package right there. So right now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 20, 23. We probably want to get this down like 5. I'd like to get it down to 20 right now. So I want to cut 3 cards at this point. Um Soul Ring, Ornithopter Paradise. Ornithopter well, that can carry an equipment just in case. Joyra, I like it. I just don't know if I'm gonna be able to play it. Chief Engineer, I like the talismans and the signets. We have the cost reducers, which I'm okay with. Like, I like them a lot. We have the land getters, just these 2, not too bad. It's not too many. Um, Not a bad deal. Oh, that's another cost reducer. So maybe with that being at 3 instants and sorceries, I don't know how many enchantments there are, but right now I think we'll cut Starnheim Courser. Just because it's 3, I'll keep the 2/2 flyer. That doesn't quite affect everything as much, but Starnheim Courser, I like that one quite a bit for the most part, but I know I'm very heavy into artifacts, so it's not as balanced. So, like, in a Layla, Starnheim is really good. So, because you have artifacts and enchantments and stuff like that, so, Reaver Cleaver, I do want in there. Add 2 to your mana pool, spend it only for artifacts. Metalworker's bonkers. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Are we getting rid of Joyra? I think we're getting rid of Joyra. Ooh, okay. All right. I think Karn maxes out at about 7 in this deck. Sounds right with the Cauldra completed. So we have 2, we got Karn. Let's see where we are. Curve wise, don't normally do this, but I know I need to work on this one. 5, 4, 3s. Just to see where everything's kind of at. Then you can see, you're gonna hit your early stuff, 1, 2, 3. Mox Amber isn't gonna do a ton. I mean, Captain America will come out. Um, okay, we'll keep the zeros. I think we keep the big ones. I'll have to see. Like, that works nicely with the 2 land getters, but other than that, let's see here. At that 2 spot, we have 3 mana. Is Planar Atlas maybe the cut? I like the talismans and the signet. So I think 1, 2, 3, 4, those are just good stuff. I think we stick with those. Chief Engineer seems like a blockbuster in here, along with Enthusiastic, Knight. All right. Planar Atlas. I do like it, but maybe it's better in a 2-color deck. I'd have to think about it a little bit more, but ET being in to play tapped, maybe that's the downfall at this point. 3s, these are all getting me ton of mana, ton of mana, ton of mana, ton of mana. So these 4 are locks, I would say. Um, so then the question ends up being like Lord Protector. I think I like that a lot just for that flip side, and we can talk about that later. And Space Marine Scout, I do like that. Smothering Tide, this is one that I generally look at and think about cutting just because it's really annoying and tends to kind of skew the game quite a bit. Um, and it's more mana. I like Karn Legacy. I think it's really focused like for this deck, artifacts getting that boost. I really don't have to cut anything at this point, but if I had to choose between Sword of Hearth and Home and Smothering Tithe, um, I'd probably keep the equipment just to be on theme. Let's do that for now. Okay. Cutting 4, we should be at 19 right there. Still am gonna have to lose some, but, alright, going on to drawing. We should actually talk about those 2 right now too. Alright, these 2 kinda have both options here, but the Might Stone and the Weak Stone, when it ETBs, you get to choose either drawing 2 cards, target creature gets -5/-5, and it also taps for 2 colorless mana for artifact spells, essentially. And then the flip side with the Urza that I talked about earlier has a bunch of stuff there. Artifacts cost 2 less until cast this turn. Okay. Or draw 2 cards, discard a card, create 2 1/1 soldier artifacts, exile target non-land permanent, artifacts and planeswalkers you control gain indestructible, destroy all non-land permanents. That's just doing a whole ton there, and you get to choose 2 with this one. So I want to keep that at least. We'll we'll see if we get down to a bit, but and then Urza High Lord Artificer. We're not locking anything down. We're not going to make it drudgery for the game. It's just turning your equipment into mana. And if you run out of cards, you can start randomly casting stuff. All right. Um, I should count first. This is the actual draw aspect or card advantage, I guess. But let's see how many we got here. 1, 5, 10, 11, 24. So we want to at least cut 4 right now. All right, as we're going through. But Reality Heist, it costs 1 less for each artifact you control. Look at the top 7 cards and put 2 artifacts into your hand from those 7. Um, it's a big range of cards that you get to choose from. I kind of want to play it. I don't know. And also, I do have the Kuldra pieces in here to choose from, all 3 of them. And so I feel like it'd be nice to search and get that kind of stuff. They always seem so expensive, but having a free equip cost is probably going to be really nice. But I think maybe that does have a shot at getting cut. Thought Monitor, Affinity for Artifacts, and then also ETB's Draw 2. We're keeping that, especially with Hearth and Home staying in with the blink. That's really nice. Sword of Fire and Ice, if it deals damage, deal 2 damage and draw a card. Also +2/+2, and pro red, pro blue. The key to the Vault. Whenever equipped creature deals combat damage, you get to look at that many cards and cast something from those cards for free. And then I believe they're exiled. Yeah. So if you can get something through, that'll be nice and big. Otherwise, this one is kind of iffy for me because I don't know how often it's going to go through and it doesn't give any boost. Now it does kind of create some ramp there. Maybe I just don't trust it at this point, and so maybe I'll cut that one. I'm okay with that. Dragon Rage Channeler, I get to surveil whenever I cast an equipment essentially in this deck, and that'll be nice. Iron Man, Titan of Innovation. Essentially, you get to go and sacrifice an artifact and go tutor for something and put it into play. Normally, I don't play tutors, but this is Marvel. I'm trying to jam in all the Marvel cards that I can do because this is probably the best place to be doing it is in Marvel decks. So we'll try and keep them as best I can. Joyra, Weatherlight Captain, but whenever you cast an historic spell, draw a card. That's Saga, Equipment, Legendary, maybe something else. I don't know. But that's a cool one. Armored Sky Hunter, whenever it attacks, look at the top 6 cards and put an equipment or aura from them into play, equipped or attached to something that's probably attacking. So, good one to cheat stuff out. Duretti Scrap Savant. You can discard up to 2 cards, draw as many cards as you discard for the +2. The -2, sack a artifact, bring an artifact back from your graveyard. into play, and this is probably making copies or whatever. I don't ever expect to actually ultimate a planeswalker, but those two back and forth, not a bad deal with so many artifacts here. A call, pakal, first among equals. At the beginning of each player's end step, if an artifact entered the battlefield under your control this turn, look at the top two cards, put one of them into your hand and the other into the graveyard. I did really like this for one or for being a 1/5. You get to kind of load up your graveyard a little bit. I liked it a lot more when Smothering Tithe was in my deck, just because there's the opportunity for an artifact to be coming in more often. Um, Now I think it's only going to happen on my turn, which probably isn't worth it. We can cut that. Robe of the Archmage. The free equip is the important part here, but whenever it deals damage to a player, you get to draw that many cards. This is also great in Shaman, Warlock, and Wizard decks. For now, this is a huge draw card, so I like it. Akiri, Fearless Voyager. Whenever you attack a player with one or more equipment, equipped creatures draw cards. So you can draw up to 3 cards if you're in a 4 pod, and then you can give indestructible by unattaching an equipment. Wheel of Misfortune. It's a wheel with damage. Dig it. Wheel of Fortune, a wheel without damage. And then Windfall, also a wheel of types. I don't know if I'm gonna like wheels in this deck, let's be honest. Equipment probably aren't gonna be coming down super quick, so it depends on how many. Um, I have a handful of cards that are gonna allow me to bring stuff back from the graveyard. Also, getting rid of Smothering Tithe hurts me in this regard. So I think right now we can maybe cut those 3. Glint Nest Crane. 1/3 flyer ETBs. Look at the top 4 cards and put an artifact from them into your hand. Ingenious Smith. Same thing, but also whenever you have once per turn, whenever an artifact ETBs for you, put a 1/1 counter on it. So the reality chip, free equip, and you can cast spells and lands off the top of your deck. So otherwise, it's an 0/4, really cheap early blocker. Artificer's Assistant, 1/1 flying. Whenever you cast a historic spell, scry 1. Not a bad deal. Esper Sentinel for sure. Sensei's Divining Top for sure. And then Ponder Preordain and Brainstorm. And so 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 15, 16, 17, 18. If I get rid of Reality Heist, and then I'm not like displeased. All right. Both the draw and the ramp are within reason. I'm close there at least. So I'll be relatively happy in that regard. All right. Removal is Argentum Armor. The free equip is really important here, but +6/+6 and whenever it attacks, destroy target permanent. Sword of Sinew and Steel, pro black and red, +2/+2. And whenever it deals damage, essentially destroy an artifact. The Planeswalker one is less relevant. But I don't have much removal when it in this deck, and so when it comes to artifacts, so it's like Argentum Armor and then Sinew and Steel. So we'll keep that in for now. Arc Spitter, I was just thinking about this one today. I just added it to the pile, but it's an equipment that equips for 1. And then you can pay 1. This creature deals 1 damage to target creature that's blocking it. I was thinking with the Dead Touch, that's kind of nice, but it's like an extra step. And the throwing mechanic for Captain America is probably decently similar. So that's probably a cut right there. That's probably an easy cut. Nazgul Battle Mace. 5 to come down, 3 to equip. Equipped creature has Menace, Death Touch, Annihilator 1, and whenever an opponent sacrifices a non-token permanent, you gain control of it unless they pay 3 life. The big reason that I really like this is the Death Touch part. Like, it just adds to that bit. Sword of Cauldron +5/+5, and whenever equipped creature deals damage to a creature, remove that creature from the game. So that is not death touch, it is removal touch. But basically if this is equipped and I'm able to hit 3 creatures, they are exiled. So, um, indestructible does not work. So that's a dope one too. I like that a lot. Basilisk Caller, lifelink, death touch. And then here, so I have 3 death touchers, and then I have 2 more. And the question is how much do I like the death touch park? And I added Goblin Sharpshooter in there just because it's a good removal piece. It's fantastic with death touch. Um, but how many death touch pieces in here do I want? I have 2 plus the exiling and maybe like the only thing that works with it is Captain America and Goblin Sharpshooter. Is that is that good enough to keep all of that in there for that? Maybe. But I think I have enough. So I think I'm gonna cut these 3 for now. It might get frustrating. Because I think the death touch would be really nice. And that's the removal part right there. So I have not a lot, like I was saying. So Argentum armor, Sinew and Steel, Battle Mace, Sword of Cauldron, Basilisk Collar. Um, and that's gonna end up being it for now. I mean, because so Fire and Ice, Sword of Fire and Ice deals the 2 damage. That's a little bit of removal. Maybe that's something that I do later. So that's the removal package. Not a lot. We're just gonna have to deal with it and hope that we are the threat. We have Padim Council of Innovation. That basically gives all artifacts hexproof, and then if you have a creature with or an artifact with the most mana value, you get to draw a card. So a little bit of draw, a little bit or a lot of protection. Good way to go. Bronze Guardian, all your artifacts have Ward 2, has double strike and Ward 2 itself, and then power is equal to the number of artifacts you control. So Bronze Guardian something a real threat to equip with some of these equipment. Shield of Cauldron, it has indestructible, gives indestructible. Swiftfoot Boots, yeah, hexproof haste. Teferi's Protection, just being able to bounce out of there. Mithril Coat, indestructible, gives indestructible. Lightning Greaves. Lightning Greaves is nice with the free equip. And then I have a cool little interaction in here with Shikari, something or other, Leonin Shikari. And you can just protect everything. I want to do that. Dawn's Truce, gift a card. All your stuff gains indestructible. And maybe hexproof? You gain hexproof until end of turn. You and permanents you control gain hexproof. If you gift a card, it also gains indestructible. There we go. Boros Charm, everything you have gains indestructible. Spell Skite, great way to move around some of the removal, but also if you go to equip and somehow your creature dies, you can redirect it over to that guy as well. Spell Skite. Commander's Plate. This one is going to be protection from black and green, and then +3/+3. But the main reason it's going to be in there, it's MCU art. And that's the protection right there. There's plenty there. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. That might be too much. I really like what's going on here though. I don't know if I had to get rid of anything, it'd probably be Commander's Plate, but I'm going to try and keep that because of the art. Um, that's where we're at. We'll keep it all. All right, this is the free equip section. Auriok Wind Waker taps to attach to equipment for free. Same thing with Brass Squire. That's a way to be. And also Codsworth Handy Helper, but Codsworth also gives Captain America Ward 2, along with tapping for 2 white for the equipment. So you have Arden Intrepid Archaeologist. This gives a free equipment once per turn to anything, essentially. So that's a nice one. Forge Anew. When it ETBs as an enchantment, you can return target equipment card from your yard to the battlefield, and then the first equip you do cost 0. So you just want to make sure you're doing this first. Pure Steel Paladin, whenever an equipment ETBs, you get to draw a card, and then Metalcraft, if you have 3 or more artifacts, you get to equip everything for free. And then inventory management, split second for each aura and equipment you control, you may attach it to a creature you control. So you can move it around however you want, all of them. And then Sigarda's Aid, Captain America's Shield. Your equipment are going to be able to cast at instant speed and then a free equip as well when it ETBs. Obviously, that's going to be in there. So, okay. So these are going to be cost reducers. Let's see if we'll go through this. I think I've cut this down to where I'm fairly happy. I don't know if I had to cut something. Like these are good. I don't know. I don't know what I would cut. I probably have to. And if I do, it'll probably be these two. I don't have anything that untaps. That's fantastic. I like this because it pulls from the graveyard. I don't like it as much now that I don't have the wheels in there. But I would assume that somebody's gonna be removing my equipment of whatever. 2, 3, 4, 5. I like that that just sticks around. Is Arden better than Brass Squire or Auriok Windwalker? Um, I do think Codsworth is. So the question is Arden good? Obadiah, thanks for joining. I want one Hydra hiding in this deck for Marvel reasons. Oh, that would be a great idea. That would be how about you try and find me? It'd have to be a red Hydra. Get me the best red Hydra out there. Worm Worm Coil Hydra? That'd be sweet. I'd be down for that. um we're gonna keep these 3 and maybe cut these or those 5, cut these 3 at this point. I don't like it, but Captain America's already kind of doing this, and then we have some of those other bonuses. So, Stone Coil Serpent. That's a serpent. Hydra? It's a serpent, I think. There really isn't a huge difference, but I don't think it's a Hydra. Problematically. Okay, so some of these are going to be cost reducers. These 4, let's go over that. All right, Tedret's Betrayal of Flesh, which is pretty cool. It's okay. That's okay. The first activated ability of an artifact you control costs 2 less, which is an equip cost. So that's kind of like, but also you can draw 2, discard 2, unless one of them is an artifact or target. I'm never gonna do that. I can, but then the -6 is whenever you tap an artifact, draw a card. So like that, that, and that are awesome. The ultimate is very doable. So I like that a lot. I'm gonna try and make it stay. Aster, Bearer of Blades, whenever ETBs look at the top 7 and put an equipment in your hand from them, equips you control have equipped 1, then vehicles, whatever. But yeah, just making things equipped for 1 is amazing. Also with the blink, works out with Hearth and Home. I think I like this a lot. And then Forensic Gadgeteer, whenever you cast an artifact spell, investigate, and then activated abilities of artifacts you control cost 1 less to activate. Can't reduce it less than 1, but I mean, clues, you just pay 1 and sack it to draw a card. You got a lot of equipment. It's going to reduce your equip costs as well. I just really think I like this right here. And then you have Zerta, which is reducing activated cost by 2. And so the equip costs are down by 2, the throw for Captain America is down by 2. It's a beautiful card. And and also some of the lands I got going on have activated abilities that and this can reduce that as well. So, I like a lot of that value over maybe what these 3 are doing. So I think these 3 are a good cut. I'm happy with that at this point. Alright. Some of the, graveyard stuff, not a lot, but Emery, Lurker of the Lock, being able to bring back artifacts from the graveyard into play with the tap ability, that random ass mill. I don't know if I'm gonna like that, but it'll be what it'll be. Goblin Engineer also bringing artifacts back. I could go with the other Goblin Welder. I could do that, but this isn't really a reanimate deck. That's not what I'm going for. So a little bit there. And then that's it. Those are the two, along with the Planeswalker. Planeswalker actually might go. Let's see here. I think we can cut that. I think I've got getting rid of the wheels kind of gets rid of Toretti. Um, these are just nice value pieces. If Renshai was here, he'd tell me not to cut Toretti, but he'd also tell me to be playing Jund, and he'd be wrong. Um, yeah, we'll get rid of Toretti. We can cut that. All right, some of the bad ass equipment that we got going on. We have Cauldron Complete. Um, yeah, so Cauldron Complete, we have 7 mana come down, and then free equip really if we have to, but +5/+5 has first strike, trample, indestructible, haste, and whenever this creature deals combat damage to a creature, exile that creature, which is probably what they wanted Sword of Cauldron to do, but it doesn't state combat damage like this does. Rah. Clockwork Hydra or Molten Hydra might work. Okay, I'll try and keep that in my mind. Um, I'd have to let me look up Molten Hydra. I know Clockwork Hydra, that's an uncommon from way back when, but I think that was in the Elspeth Tezzeret dual deck. I want to say that was in there. Molten Hydra. I'm not sure if I know that one. That could be kind of fun. It'd be if I had the death touch in here, that would be a little bit better there. Shivan Devastator is always a choice. I might just do that with my own deck. You don't have to if you know what? I traded away my Shivan Devastator, right away because it was a $20 card, and I have not gotten it back at this point. I haven't rebought at a lower price. Is that a Hydra? It probably is, isn't it? Is that Flying Trample Haste and X? That'd be dope. I don't have it, so I'd have to think about it if I do get it. But that's kind of a fun idea there, Parks. So Cauldron Complete, the completed version of it. We got Helm of Cauldron, which is haste for strike and trample. I like that quite a bit. Batter Skull, which is just used to be, Cauldron Complete's version, not legendary though, which is nice, but +4/+4 vigilance and lifelink with the living weapon. We'll go for that for now. Maybe this has to be the cut. It's a bummer. I wanted to do or I didn't really even want to do War and Peace, but with what's going on, I probably got to do that. So, oh shit. Sword of War and Peace isn't that good either. That might be at $3 or $4 now. Okay. Shield of War, or I guess it's Sword of War and Peace, pro red and white, and then deals damage to them for their hand, and you gain life for your hand. Um, we're gonna put this in there just because of the art. That it's a Marvel one, and so we gotta cut Batterskull in that regard. Embercleave and Leyline Axe, but basically +1/+1 trample and double strike. They have free equips in this deck, so it's not a big deal. Whatever is going on with it, I like them both. I love them both. Call Cloud Steel Curin, which is pretty sweet. 3/2 flyer for 3, but equipped creature, this has the reconfigure, which is an equipping thing. Uh has flying, and then you can't lose the game and your opponents can't win the game. So that feels like it's going to be a good one right there. Sculpting Steel, another one. The Marvel things here at the end. You got plenty of equipment that you can just copy. That makes a ton of sense. Leonin Shikari, you may play equip abilities anytime you could play an instant. So instant speed equip is nice, and Lightning Greaves just protects everything. Masterwork of Ingenuity, again, you can copy a ton of different equipment out there. And then Charisma was one that I added yesterday. But whenever enchanted creature deals damage to a creature, you control that creature as long as Charisma remains in play. It's an aura, but if you can just go 1 damage, 1 damage, 1 damage, you steal that stuff. That's probably I like it. Let's say that I like it at that point. I'm gonna quick count how many we've cut at this point. 7, 8, 20. So we're down mid 70s. Let's see here. 4, 30. 30. Yeah, 75. There we go. All right, let's see our curve. We'll probably put that at the 3 spot. Threes. Twos. Go 5. I normally put these at the 5 spot, unfortunately. That ups the curve. But I have a feeling I won't be doing that kind of equipment, or I'll be probably cheating something else on, but maybe the speed of everything happens at a different pace than I'm thinking. 4, 5. 3, 2, 3, 4. And so I kind of do this just to make sure that like I'm not clumping, or I don't have a bunch of high casting things. It's good to, it's good to have some high casting stuff, but I don't need too many. And it's good to keep an eye on that kind of stuff. 2 twos, 3, 3, 2, 4. This seems pretty even. Actually, normally 3 is kind of the highest for me, and I'm sure I have. Let's mark these down in the 3 spots so I don't feel so guilty about the 5s. Yeah. That probably looks or feels a bit better, but 2 at the 7, that'll cost less anyway. That seems fine. We have 2 in the 6 spot. Again, this will cost less, but I'm perfectly fine with those 4 cards at the high spot. Could even go with a couple more. I'd have to look around and see what we got, but yep. The Battle Mace, Bronze Guardian, like, are they all of similar power? If I can cut, so basically I have like 10 more cuts at this point. Um, we're at 44 minutes. So I have like I'm like technically half done, but I only have 10 cuts. Did really well on that first go through. So, but Battle Mace is good. I like the Bronze Guardian, especially if I can get like one of the swords of X and Y on it with a double strike. Yeah. Iron Man is kind of there to get me my Cauldron pieces, probably. That's the guess. And then the Might Stone. This feels kind of out of place. I like Karn. I like Karn. Because it's not for artifact spells technically. It's for it can't be used to cast non-artifact spells. So you can use this mana to help equip stuff or, you know, use Captain America's ability and whatnot. So that'll work really well in the deck. So next question is the Might Stone and the Weak Stone. Enters the battlefield, choose one, draw two cards, or kill a creature. That is part of my removal, which is really thin already. It's let's see here. I think the flip is really nice. Whoop. Oh, you don't like the stone? If I drop the stone, then I'm getting rid of Urza, the other one. Uh, I don't know what the magic number for value is, mana value is. Um, okay. All right. Might Stone, and then we'll get rid of Urza as well. I like the idea of Urza. I took it out of a Layla, so maybe I get rid of that. Or maybe move it back over to a Layla. All right. Lord Protector, gone. But okay. Yeah. We're there. Not too bad on that. 4 spot right now. Whoop. A win con direction, but this deck is already heading a different way. Yeah, yeah. Agreed. I can see that. Shield of Caldra is nice protection. Tezzeret is draw and a little bit of cost reduction. Selection and cost reduction. Big beater. I like Leyline. Urza's gonna get you a lot of mana. Joyra will draw you some cards. Armored Sky Hunter. We'll have to see how many equipment that we actually have, and that'll happen on the next round. So make sure that we want to hit, right? Sword of Cauldron is going to be beastly. We'll do that. Padim, Council of Innovation. I can tell the story of and why I'm hesitant to cut this. The one time that I have assembled Cauldron in a game, I am essentially attacking and with it, I have it all together. So somebody chaos warps the indestructible one, and then they kill the Cauldron token, and I didn't do anything with it. I was like, son of a gun. So I want some of the protections from my artifacts, if that makes sense. Um Sometimes you just have to choose at the fork of the road, and Urza deck could be fun. 30-minute challenge on some weekend. So all right. So I like Padim. I like Sword of Cauldron, Armored Sky Hunter. Probably I'll set that aside just no. We'll we'll do it. I just need to make sure that I'm gonna hit the equipment that I'm looking for. Joyro will draw me some cards. I'm okay with that. Urza, Leyline, Aster, Tezzeret, Shield. All right. Those are good. 3 spot. 1, 2, 3, 4 of them. That's basically there because I need the artifact removal and it's, on theme. 2 damage, draw a card. And damage and draw, da da da. All right. Then we have Forge Anew, which is the 3rd graveyard thing. That's probably enough. I'm happy with that. Codsworth is worth it. Forensic Gadgeteer. I still like that as a draw aspect. Zerta, cost reduction, protection. That should probably go in protection. Can't lose the game. That's protection. Copy. Charisma stealing. I'll complete Cauldron myself after I get the card. Yeah, the, you definitely need the cards to complete Cauldron. So and they made it easy already with Cauldron completed, but Charisma's gonna I consider that generally removal if you can steal stuff. I guess that's the second thing card that I can steal with because the Battle Mace also steals. Okay. Space Marine, Scout for the land, a Robe of the Archmagi. Mhm. Yeah, that's probably okay in there. Kiri, Fearless Voyager. So a little bit of the question I have is how many creatures am I going to be equipping, or am I just drawing one and getting a little bit of protection there? Attach an equipment from a creature you control. If you do, tap that creature and it gains indestructible until end of turn. Um, I think it's good enough to see how the deck plays out. Metalworker is going to be bonkers for sure. Grand Arbiter or Architect. Yep, yep, yep. Those are good. All right. Two spot, Swiftfoot, Borrow's Charm, Dawn's Great Truce, Greaves, Spellskite. I'm okay with it. Pure Steel Paladin, Management, Goblin. I like the instant speed stuff. And Ingenious Smith and Glint Nest. Also kind of nice with the Hearth and Home. Being able to blink them is not a bad deal. Reality Chip. All right. This is, again, probably only going to get one counter on it per. Reality Chip. Playing off the top, not a bad deal. Do, 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 do. I think I'm going to cut Ornithopter of Paradise. It's weird to say. I don't know if I agree with that. Because I can just equip stuff on this and it's going to do some work. Maybe the deal is I'm able to cut the land guys now that I don't have as much poison or not poison, but death touch. I think that's going to be the case. That's how I can lower the land part. I'll read your comment here, Parks. Give me 1 second. Finish the idea. All right. Let's go with that. All right. How many creatures are you going to be able to cast in this deck? With equipment, it is usually a couple concentrated on less targets, but easier to focus protection. Your Rule Zero deck can have 140 cards. No one will care. Yeah, battle. It's going to be a Battle of Wits deck. Actually, I can play that in here. Um, so I got rid of those two guys. I think I'm going to get rid of Ornithopter of Paradise as well. Feels weird, but um. All right, let's look at the 2 spot again. I don't hate anything. Everything looks fine there. All right, 1 spot. Captain America or Aid, Plate, Emery, Masterwork, Dragon's Rage Channeler. I guess that is able to put stuff into the graveyard. Kind of makes me want to put Duretti back in because I do have. I'll have to see what I can do that puts stuff in the graveyard. As for Sentinel for sure, Artificer's Assistant for the Scry, Top, Ponder, Preordain, Brainstorm. I guess the other question that I have is no, I don't have. Never mind. This is going to be those. Top, Caller, Bop, Bop, Bop. Yep. That's easy. How many did we actually cut this time? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Technically 5 more cuts left. We're going to break this up into card type just to see where everything is at. How many we have of what's what. Normally that's what I do anyway. Let's do the creatures first. See how many we have. But I think you're right, Parks. We likely are going to have a concentration of equipment on Captain America and maybe one other. And so a Curie isn't fantastic in the deck. I like the protection part, but I am heavier on protection. All right, let's cut a Curie. I think we're there. Um, and so I think we could do that. I think that's okay. Let's see here. I mean, we definitely have creatures. I'm not worried about that aspect. Plenty of creatures there. We really only have 4 more cuts. All right, going to be a lot of equipment. Instance. There we go. Yeah. Plenty. Okay. We got 2 sorceries, Preordain and Ponder. They're staying. Tezzeret is solid at this point. 3 enchantments. I am not mad about them whatsoever. I should probably look at a couple of the subcategories, which is graveyard. We have some protection aspect here and some draw. Fine with those. All right. Let's see here. So what we want to do is we want to look at how many equipment we actually have. So some of those subcategories, like what's Armored Skyhunter going to do in here? Like we already know what is the cost reduction. Maybe we need to look at those too. That can be an afterthought. Cost reduction. Boo, boo, boo. Three blue pips might be hard to cast. Maybe I my it's not going to be awful. How about that? I'm not going to be trying to run it out there. It's going to be like I'll put it on later game when I have a couple equipment on there, and then I can be like 3 blue, attack, have the effects all happen, and then whenever I want, pay 3, unequip something, steal, steal, steal. So I'll just like leave up or have 6 mana at that point. So that I think charisma is probably a later game aspect of it, if that makes sense. Um, we probably want to have some ETB ideas. So we want to see how many cards have an ETB creature wise at this point. I guess in that regard, I think, I mean, I'm not worried about it. We'll have plenty of equipment. It is an equipment. Okay. I the reconfigure is right. I know it's equipment. It is attaching, but it's not equipping technically. I'd have to read the ruling on those things. This does allow activated abilities of artifacts as well, so that's really nice. Um, I should be able to hit plenty of 3 or less. Yeah, all the swords work. Shikari, Genius Smith. I lost a lot with the Smothering Tithe cut, I think. I'd have to think about adding that back in, maybe in the figuring out stage. That is graveyard. I should go back. All right. That is graveyard. And then I need to see how many cards actually put stuff into the graveyard. That's true. That is true. All right. So graveyard stuff. That is a discard. Actually, not a lot of creatures to ETB. So maybe Hearth and Home is a bit rough. Let's look at the ETBs on that. Now that I got rid of some of it. Bop. Bop. Hearth and Home might not be worth it at this point, unfortunately. But I think, I mean, it's 1, 2, 3. That's 4, 5, 6. Shit. Yeah, that's not worth the Blink package by any means. All right. Hearth and Home is gone. All right. Graveyard stuff. Let's re-look. I already did that. Let's see. Anything else putting stuff in the graveyard? Technically Iron Man is. And Dragon's Rage Channeler. All right, have a good night, Parks. If you're taking off, kind of half assuming, but and then graveyard. What puts anything in the graveyard? Not much. Okay, not a whole ton. And that these two work off of each other. Forge anew, I think, is a cut. I don't think that's worth it. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cards. These work off of themselves, and these just aren't bad. Like, they're not bad cards by any means. So Forge anew probably gets cut here. Okay. So the graveyard part. Let's look for the equipment aspect. How many cards do I like that care about equipment? Let's think about that first. No. Let's wait. See how many cards Zerta actually. Well, Zerta helps the commander. We're probably going to keep that. All right. See how many cards are pure equipment type cards. Equipment. There we go. So not a whole ton. All right. And then we'll take a look and just take out all of the equipment. That technically, that would be an equipment, but that's not going to trigger like anything other than maybe the cost reduction. A lot of the artifacts here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 11, 12, 19. I'd say that's probably plenty. And then I'm not mad about that. Where are we at? 3? Shoot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Yeah. I mean, technically we're sitting at about 2 cuts right now. I mean, there are some easy cuts like sculpting steel, but I want them since they're Marvel cards. And this only gets tougher the more Marvel stuff comes out this summer or next summer, I guess. I'm not mad about that. That makes a ton of sense to me. Um, Plenty of equipment, plenty or artifacts, plenty of creatures, I'd say. All right, let's see where we're at for our types. The little white creatures are usually the equipment combo cards. Artifacts in general are the keywords usually worth keeping. Let's see here. All right, we're going to go with what they have going on. All right. Technically, we'll just, that's a draw. It's equipment stuff. I'll allow that to be mana. That's removal. Cool equipment. Removal. Protection. That is a little bit of removal. All right. And then consider that protection. Mana. Protection. Mana. Let's see how many we got, but I got my eye on that. Yeah. That's a both. More of a protection. That is a protection. Just kind of cool. And then that's the free equip. Is that what we got going on? Nope, that'll be over there. Slide that over. Protection. Draw. Cost reduction. These are probably just there. All right, let's look at what we would consider draw. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 15. That's barely making it. I do have these two things over here. This is much more mana than anything. And this is probably much more draw than anything. So let's see here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 16. Honestly, I want to keep this at 16, but I probably would cut this and trade it for something that can kind of like burst fill my hand. There's some of the stuff. Most of it's at 4 mana, but then it's going to draw me, probably like 5, 6 cards rather than nothing until I cast enough artifacts. Artifacts, I believe there was like 25, right around there, and creatures was about 25. So that's probably what I'd do. I'll keep that in there for now. I'm not going to go find it. I have it in a pile that I cut, but let's look at our mana. 2, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 15, 16. I don't want to mess with that either. We're up to 17 for our draw. Let's just cut Joyra at this point. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 15, 16. Yeah, I'm probably happy with that for now. I'm going to have to mess with what I would consider draw. It's really, I mean, they're good. There are definitely some good cards in here. But I'm gonna need to probably fill up my hand a little bit better. Like Robe of the Archmagi is really good. But we're probably fine there. Let's see here. Well, yeah, hour 9, not too bad. Is a little I like the Shikari. I like these 2 are gonna be in just because 'cause they're gonna be in. A little bit of recursion there. These are the only 2 cards that'll bring stuff back. That's not even everything, so, I mean, this only has 3 and under. Emery is a lot of work, but that's probably fine at this point too. Let's see here. 1, 2, 3, 4. One more cut somewhere. But I'm probably done after I'm gonna go through this, do a last count just to see what's going on, and then, I have to play around with the land a little bit too. I really like the idea of Tezzeret in here. I have 2 or 3 cards that allow me to tap my artifacts, the equipment, which is Urza and Inspiring Statuary. Zerta will get something done. Armored Sky Hunter, there's enough there, I'd say. And Aster should be pretty good as well. Shield of or Sword of War and Peace. I like the Cauldron pieces. Yep, cut down a lot of that. I'm good there. Removal is going to end up being 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Not a lot. All right. These 4 for creatures. These artifact. That's for anything. The rough thing is that it's not even. It's going to be work to get rid of creatures as well. All right. And then protection. Let's see here. 1, 2, 3. So I love those, right? I like that in there. Commander's plate. Bop, 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 bop. So if I was going to cut, it'd be maybe one of these 2. um, I like them both. All right, last count, and then we're going to call it a night. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 20. 20. 20. 4, 5, 6. Yeah. So 66. Easily could build a deck with it at this point. I'll have to figure out the lands tonight. Hey, Parks, thanks for coming out. I appreciate the conversation. Anybody else watching, I hope that you enjoyed this. Leave some comments if whatever your opinion is, and we'll check it out. Hopefully everybody has a good time. All right. Night. Bye.